All right, there it is. All right, should be ready for you to share for the world. I think everybody's got it now. Let's see. Booyah. All right. I'm rocking and rolling and whatnot.
I'm not there yet.
You'll be there one of these days. You'll get there.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Still not there. Oh, I see you there, Mr. Pusswhack.
Nope.
Alrighty then. 1, 2.
I knew once Trump left the presidency, nothing would be the same.
Good.
See what I did there?
I see what you did.
I'm getting closer.
Are you? That's what she.
You see, the thing didn't work with the thing.
But now it is.
I think the thing, I'm going to have to check the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The thing is working now.
All right.
Okay. It is the Brad and Britt cast. Welcome. We're glad you're with us. We're live in the 1:30 or so hour here in the East on Inauguration Day 2021. And I know you're as wistful and regretful as I am.
Yeah, I've got buyer's remorse.
My God, the anger, the hate, the attempt to divide this country by this Joe. When is someone? You know what? As our old friend Al Gardner used to say, it's a 10. It's a 10 on a 10 scale. Don't you think he was pretty great?
Yeah, it was everything that it should have been. But yeah, more importantly, the send off for Trump. That's what really. I thought the send off for Trump was so appropriate. It was really amazing.
So do we need to go back there to catch up to? All right. So my favorite part of what he said at the airport before they sent, and I didn't realize they actually do send him away on Air Force One, and then Air Force One comes back empty. And to me, that's a waste of resources. You don't fly a plane completely empty. But then again, I think I'm being sidetracked there. Am I? I think so.
Well, in the past, it was always, of course, very different because it's not Air Force One if not president's not on it. So that in this case, he was because he was still the president. But in the past, it's always been it's not Air Force One.
Yeah, that's true. He's the first asshole to leave town.
And did you see?
President. You're right. I forgot that little difference there.
They had. Did you read about the machinations they had to make for the nuclear football? Because they had to do that differently too, since he wasn't going to be at the ceremony. They literally in the past, the guy would be on the steps of the Capitol. The one guy would put it in the other guy's hand on the steps behind him, and that would be it. That's how it would work. But no, they had to do it completely differently. They had an aide with the football. He takes it from Trump. He has to get on the plane, bring it back. But they've got another one that's active while they're there. And Biden's guy, his military attaché gets it, and he can launch nuclear codes right there, right after he takes the oath. So they had to do it completely differently than they did.
It's a suitcase.
It is
just a suitcase.
It's a suitcase, but they had two of them that were active because Dickhead the Amazing is such a piece of shit and had to get out of town and couldn't take it like everybody else before him. And then I went through they had some amazing facts about it too. It was like there was something that was wrong with Kennedy's at one point, and then Clinton lost his for a little while in 2000. He lost the code for a minute. And it's so bizarre, but this has been the worst. And
Bill Clinton lost it under the bed.
But look, I think this is the same thing as your admonition to people like, after 11/59/59 on December the 31st of 2020, things aren't going to automatically be immediately better, right? Things are like, just because there's a change, things aren't immediately going to change. I think psychically and physically, things feel a little bit different, but it's going to take a while for the layers and layers and layers of shit that we've accumulated over the past 4 years to dissipate and get out of the way.
Right. I give him 10 days. My favorite part of that meandering, whining brain fart of his last appearance standing there at the airport. And I don't know, I haven't looked enough or checked enough, but the TV pictures I saw of that moment is they didn't pull back so you could see just how few people were really there. All it looked like, from what I could tell, were, 40 or 50 people, his family, just there was nobody there. In other words, nobody really did show up that he thought was going to show up from his past. And we don't want to make him look bad on the last day.
Well, Jesus,
so they didn't get a long shot.
Did you see who was invited? Like, you saw who was invited? Like Scaramucci was invited, and John Kelly, and
none of these people showed up. But he had to immediately, his last moment as president, his last speech, he had to lapse into every meandering, repetitive lie and distortion and gaslighting of every issue, from talking about the coronavirus in the past as if it's not there anymore to, and I thought he had been had this one wrung out of his head. He went back to the 1917 pandemic, which was really in 1918. I hadn't heard him say it for a while,
but now
that obviously, he couldn't break that one either. And then he lied about Veterans Choice, where veterans now have a program that they can use, private providers and things and that's been in the works. It was signed in 2014 by Barack Obama, and Trump has lied over and over and over again as if he started it, and he got it done. And then he had to lie and say 91% of veterans, nobody's ever seen anything like that before. They like Trump. And of course, all you have to do is Google the phrase, which is what I did while I was watching. It said military approval rating Trump.
Yeah.
And never had 91% of anything except, intelligent people who hate his guts and think he's a shitty president. Okay, 91% of people think that. But other than that, there is no way. And so he went over issue by issue, lie by lie. And then a little bit of Trump punches through where he's so psyched out, because when he does turn and get a little bit optimistic about America's going to be great. This is the greatest country. And when the virus, don't forget about me. Don't forget about us. In other words, when the economy gets better, and he specifically, when the economy continues to zoom, it's going to take off like a rocket ship. Right. Don't forget who lit the fuse. It was Donald Trump. Now, again, and I know we're just going to do one more day of bitching like this, but you fucking asshole. You were handed an economy that was completely on the upswing, an 8-year recovery, not fast enough, but still a great recovery compared to where we were when Obama took office. And all you did for 4 years was talk about the shit that was handed to you on a plate in every area. And that wasn't true then. And for you to now be taking pre-credit. He's taking pre-credit for things being fixed by the next administration. Again, we're not astonished. We're not shocked. We're not surprised. We're none of that. But he's a classless piece of dung all the way to the very end. And I think the last thing he said was, good luck with your life. Something really sick like that. It was horrible. It was just horrible.
Yeah, in the end, he was exactly who we thought he was in the end. And then he never disappointed us, except now he can't vomit stuff out on his Twitter nonstop. He's got to have all of his followers do it for him, but he can't do what he used to do. He can't do it on TikTok, and he can't do it on Facebook, and he can't do it on YouTube, and he can't do it on Friendster, and he can't do it on MySpace.
Right. Well, you've surely seen the story the last few days. They ran the numbers, and the minute Trump was kicked off of Twitter, the amount of hate tweets and denial of the election dropped by 73% instantly.
Mm-hmm. One day he's going to go away, just like magic.
Yeah,
he'll be gone. Yeah, and that's what happened. So but it is different now that he doesn't have the. It just seemed like he was so toothless and impotent, especially without the Twitter account. It was like, oh, that was the thing. It seemed like that just and now that he doesn't have that tool at his disposal to spray diarrhea all over the landscape.
Well, I think we may overestimate the ability Twitter to singularly finish off Donald Trump. That's not what's
It's
going to do
not
it.
just
Remember,
it's not just Twitter. No, it's not just that.
But remember,
It's also the coverage of it. Oh, the president has released a tweet. Hang on, the smoke is coming from the chimney.
I understand that, but we've had troublemakers in world history who did not have Twitter, so it can still be done without Twitter.
I understand.
Twitter.
Well,
that being said,
that's very dismissive of you, and I understand. But what if Hitler had Twitter? What if Stalin had Twitter? How much more effective would
let's see. Hitler would have killed 6 million Jews if he would have had Twitter.
More. It would have been able to. How much more would they have been able to do?
I understand that, but he threw some poison into the water yesterday in response to Mitch McConnell essentially saying Trump did it. Trump did.
Yeah.
By saying he played and we've been through this 7,000 times with him, where he will say, I'm going to do something, and he seldom ever really does it. This is now I'm going to start a third party, the Trump party,
the Patriot Party,
the Patriot Party.
What's the easy punchline there? Because Nazis was already taken. You can't. That's why he has to call it the Patriot Party.
That's good. But out of sheer spite and revenge, because Mitch McConnell disrespected him and didn't stand up for him, and actually might vote to convict him in the all those kinds of things. And he didn't need Twitter to get that message out there, and he won't need Twitter if it starts down the road. And of course, this is the Occam's razor. Simplest explanation is the right one. In this case, there is no other way to look at this. Is that would be the end of the Republican Party ever winning national elections again, if a Trump party had any life beyond a couple of years and beyond his lifetime. I mean, Ross Perot, and we can start to use comparisons that make sense. Ross Perot actually did have a lot of money. We don't know that Trump even has money, because he's out there raising it.
No, he's broke. There's a couple different schemes going on, but go ahead.
But Ross Perot had plenty of money to spend, and he did. And he got 20%, I think, or so of the popular vote. Not enough to win any states, but he made a difference. And there's an argument to be made that if it wasn't for Ross Perot, Bill Clinton would not have won in 1992, okay? Because he split the vote, we think, more with Bush than with Clinton. In this case, there's absolutely no doubt that a third party, Donald Trump, is not going to be taking away votes from any Democrat, whether it's Joe Biden running or Kamala Harris in 2004. So that there is no now the question is, would he do it? Because it would take a lot of money and a lot of energy.
Yes, he would do it. And I'll tell you why he'll do it, because it'll be another cash grab for him to make money off of those stupid people to pass on to his idiot kids. He will get the people in the trailer parks. I need $20 from you to establish the Patriot Party. Can I count on you? And the money will not go where it's supposed to do to establish a party. It'll go into his pocket. These are the two great cash grabs that he's got left, because he can't sell anything else. He can't sell his golf clubs, can't sell his hotel, can't sell T-shirts out of his stupid online store, because nobody will shop with him at all. They can't use any apps to sell that shit anymore. All he's got is to establish this party and grab money from people and put money in his pocket that way. And the library. People who are not able to read will give money to him to build a library, which will not build a library, but will go into stupid Don Jr.'s habit. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. That's what's going to happen. Those are the two things he's got to sell: the stupid party.
Do you need a tissue? There's something wrong with your nose there. You need a tissue?
I think it's just a little congestion. I think I'll be just fine. So those are the two, and it's not going to be a party. It'll be another cash grab to make money off of really stupid people. That's what's happening.
Not one thing you just said that isn't not only within the realm of possibility, I think it's within the realm of probability that would be behind it. And you can really play the victim card, the they're all against me card over and over again, which is what he lives on, right? That is his fuel.
I just don't know. Again, I wonder, because you remember the videos. You remember the videos from 2009? Like, didn't Fox give Obama like 48 hours or something before Hannity released that video that had the Exorcist music behind it. Remember that whole thing? And it was the dystopian nightmare already. We're 48 hours in after Obama's been inaugurated, and America already is in shit city, and people are being slaughtered, and the babies are being taken out of their mothers and butchered in front of their, all that shit. So I wonder again, and it's not the most important thing, of course, but how Fox is going to play this. Does Donald Trump get to bust out a call to Fox and Friends every morning at 7:30 and just bitch nonstop about what Joe Biden did the day before? Are they going to pimp Don Jr. as a legitimate candidate on Sean Hannity's show as the next guy who's going to take over and make America great again? I mean, what's going to happen here?
Well, if you would have asked me that a couple of days ago, I would have done dismissive arrogance towards Brad. I would have done, but now I do not doubt that is a distinct possibility. That they will, and they're proving it right now because of the moves that Fox has made just in the last few days. Because number one, at 7 o'clock, they used to have what pretended to be one of their straight hours of news with Super MILF Martha McCallum, which they thought that would cover the idea that she wasn't as opinionated as the 8 to 11 block, that she was hot enough that the horny male core of Fox would put up with it. All right. But because of what's happened in the last few weeks and in the wake of the election and Fox getting squeezed on both sides, people abandoning Fox for the reason that they kind of sort of knew all along that they were full of shit. So they've gravitated over to CNN and to a lesser extent MSNBC to get, and then the channels that are popped up that are much further to the right and are even crazier than Fox, One America Network and Newsmax.
Right.
And so there's Fox kind of left in the mushy middle. So instead of saying, all right, Biden is the president, we're going to play it straight. They've decided to double and triple down on the crazy. They've gotten rid of that 7 o'clock fake straight news hour, and they're going to go hard ass, off the wall, crazy shit opinion from 7 to 11 instead of 8 to 11. They've added another hour of that. But that's not the only thing they did. They fired, and remember, in the Trump administration, we talked about this a zillion times. You're rewarded for lying. You're rewarded for sucking up to Trump when it's unnecessary or it's wrong or you're going against the reality. You get rewarded for that, and you get fired for telling the truth about something in the world of Trump, right? You don't ever want to reveal it because you will go down. You Mad Dog Mattis, name them, the whole list, John Kelly, they all go down for telling some degree of the truth. Well, that's the same rule at Fox because they fired the guy who made the call for Arizona on election night and went on camera with it earlier than anybody else, a guy named Chris Steyerwalt, who is a good analyst. He is straight down the middle. He really has always been fair. I always kind of like watching him. But of course, because he got the information and did not hold it back at 11:20, I think, on that night. And he said the Fox decision desk is throwing this to the Democrats in Arizona, and Twitter blew up. They went crazy. And the other hosts were saying, yeah, retract that call. That didn't happen. Well, what happened? Fox was right. The decision desk was right. Steyerwalt was right to do that. But after all this time, more than 2 months later, what's the ultimate response? They fire the guy who told the truth. They fire now, in the real world, what would happen maybe is if you went on the air and went hard with a decision in calling a state that got reversed because you jumped the gun, you might get canned for that. And maybe you should, but you probably shouldn't either because mistakes are made. But not only was this not a mistake, it was completely on target. Fox, in their own way, deserves a lot of credit back then for going out on a limb and seeing something in the data There's something in the data earlier in the evening with only 73% of the vote in. They called the state of Arizona, or as everyone on TV likes to say, the great state of Arizona. You ever notice that? Every state is the great state of this, great state of that. Watch it, notice it, remember I said it. Every state.
Why can't we just say it's like it's the shitty state of Rhode Island? It's
But
just can't we just do that?
How about the state of Arizona? Every state isn't great because some of them really do suck. But anyway, so they fire Steyerwalt, and they're moving some executives and firing people and the rest.
Yeah.
You know, Rupert Murdoch is 90. Okay.
Well, and they got Maria Bartiromo trying out for that thing or whatever. That's
right.
7 o'clock.
You know, yeah, they're going for the hard crazy at 7 o'clock. But I don't think that's going to be the answer for them.
It's interesting because I wonder if they're going to continue to. I mean, if they will continue to pursue the idea that the election was illegitimate. Joe Biden is an illegitimate president. There was voter fraud. Is that going to be the mantra? Is that going to be
that's the problem? It's not. Chris Wallace doesn't say that.
No,
Chris Wallace doesn't say Joe Biden is the president.
But the people who get
they've got a problem. They've got a problem.
The people who get the biggest ratings at that network do say that.
I understand that, but you can't have a network. You cannot have two views of that issue. It's not open for debate. That's the problem. One side, all the opinion hosts are lying. They've been lying since minute one.
But can't you
know they're lying, and it's going against reality. And now the only way that that continues to stand is if they stick with it. But they're being bypassed by even crazier people.
Yeah.
On those other two channels. The two further right-wing channels, but then you have quote unquote legitimate news people who know the truth and kind of sort of report the truth. I mean, did you see the interview with Shepard Smith the other day?
Sure.
You know, he finally said what you knew was true all along. I mean, he said, I stayed there all those years because I wanted to at least be one guy who would tell the truth about shit during the day. And you saw that over time, the tidal wave overwhelmed him, and he said, "I'm out of here. I'm gone." So the myth of straight news at Fox has always been that, except for the few people who really were that way. But they're not the stars. It's very simple.
But isn't it? But that's the lie of fair and balanced. Is we can have on Fox the idea that yes, it was a legitimate election and democracy prevailed, but we can also have the idea that it was a complete lie, it was fraudulent, and Joe Biden is an illegitimate president. That's fair and balanced, Brad. No, that's what the lie of fair and balanced is.
Well, I'm not even sure if Roger Ailes were alive that they would have stuck with this.
And yet, as you say,
I don't even know if they would have done that because you can't have fair and balanced about whether the sun comes up in the East every day. You can't do it. There aren't two sides of that issue.
You know that's
tomorrow 2 + 2 = 5. We're not going to have that.
If Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson are not doing a show that says there was fraudulence and that Joe Biden is an illegitimate president, I don't know what they're doing. I know the drumbeat, of course, is that big tech America is shutting out conservatives and they have no voice in America, and it's just, socialism and rampant. Oh, I get all that, and that's certainly going to be continuing, but they can't stop. They're addicted to the lie which caused people to the lie which caused people to go to the Capitol and try to destroy the Capitol and try to hunt down Mike Pence and other people and try to kill them. They can't stop that. So again, as they continue to go forward, they have to continue to push the idea that Donald Trump is going to come back and claim his mantle in 2024, or that one of the pieces of his sperm will come back and do the same, whether it's Don Jr. or Ivanka. I don't think Tiffany's quite ready, and I really think that Eric Trump's got a huge problem.
I don't think that can stand. That cannot stand as either a short or long-term policy. And you know why? Very simple. Let's start naming names. You ready? Kohl's, Walmart,
right?
Target. They have already started to pull back, and corporate America has pulled away and said we're never contributing money to Republican candidates again right now. Some of them are playing the we're not going to give any money to politicians to cover their ass. But a lot of them are saying we're not going to give money to a party that denies the truth
results.
of a free and fair election that happened. And I can guarantee you from here that is going to filter over and bleed into Fox's advertising base. Whether you know about it right now or I know about it, it's got to. You can't do one. You cannot cut off the politicians who lie and at the same time support the network that gives the forum to the politicians who lie and the idea that is a lie. And it is a big lie. And the phrase big lie now is almost becoming tiresome, but it's true. And because it is Hitlerian in origination, there it is. You can't get away. If you support the big lie, we're not going to advertise on your channel. And no, you can't fake your way around it. You can't move our commercials during the day or anywhere else. So none of that. And I think they have classically painted themselves into a corner. And the best thing that could happen to Fox is for Rupert to go kick the bucket, right? Have the younger brother, who's the liberal, kill off the older brother, who's the asshole and just wants to please daddy.
One of them is James, and the other one is like Liam or
something.
Lachlan, some stupid ass, half-ass Irish name.
You know, have at it and play it straight and love the country that gave Rupert Murdoch citizenship so that he could do business here. And what has he done? Well, you talk about immigration problems. You know what the biggest immigration problem in the last 50 years in this country has been? Letting fucking Rupert Murdoch become a citizen so he could buy up all those all those stations from Metro Media. And I'm getting into the weeds here, but he bought all the Metro Media stations. Many of them are on five in Los Angeles, 5 in New York, 5 in Washington. And that was the basis for how he got into local television ownership. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger. You used to not be able to own stations if you were a foreign person. I think that rule is still in place, but he's an American citizen.
Right.
So that was the most damage that's ever been done to this country by one decision on immigration. There you go.
Where is the unity, Brad? I would like to ask that. Where is the unity when it comes?
The unity will come when the truth is acknowledged. When the 5 magic words are spoken. Joe Biden won the election. See if they can say those 5 words in order. Joe Biden won the election. And you can add free and fair, legitimately, all those. But those are the 5 basic building blocks. Because if Hannity and the rest, if they do some smart aleck thing like alleged president, illegitimate president Joe Biden, we're only going to say his name with the word illegitimate in front of it for the next 4 years. You know, if they pull some shit like that, which I certainly wouldn't do.
You know what they do? They'll get a clip of somebody, some Democrat or some liberal, saying that Donald Trump's not a legitimate president. He's not my president. They'll do that. That's how they excuse. That's how they've excused the violence of the Capitol for 2.5 weeks. They show clips of Democrats and liberals allegedly excusing all the violence in Chicago and Seattle and Portland and all that other shit. And when they show the clips, it's not that, of course. It's not that at all, but that's what they say happened. That's what they say. The Democrats were cheering on people destroying businesses and burning down America. And oh my God.
I understand that. But you know what? A new guy has the bully pulpit.
Yeah.
Different guy. And I think it's a lot different for them to be able to operate with the impunity that they did the last 4 years with their number one fan, their number one viewer, egging them on, retweeting what they would put out there, multiplying whatever they were doing way beyond its original audience size and being part of that. It's a lot different, I think, now. And I think Joe Biden did a good job of laying down the twin needs of the country for some degree of unity, a la Abe Lincoln near the end of the Civil War. Because remember, he spoke those words about binding the nation's wounds.
Right.
I think even before Appomattox, before the papers were signed up there, and then he got shot and killed. So here's Joe Biden, in effect, kind of doing the same thing, because at this moment, there certainly have been no surrender papers signed anywhere. They're not acknowledging
Not at
that
all.
what happened at the Capitol wasn't the greatest victory in the history of military invasions, because they're positioning that as what they're saying,
Right.
of course, this was a victory. But I think he did a good job of appealing to the famous better angels that are out there. And as many relatives and friends and coworkers who we know have seemingly lost their way,
God.
Biden is not giving an inauguration speech with an iron fist, like the last guy did 4 years ago. The carnage stops. It stops here. It stops now. It's which was just crap. He's not doing that. He's opening the door. And the symbolism of today, of him going to church with Kevin McCarthy and McConnell and Schumer and Pelosi, that should not be lost. Remember, we just went through the most symbolically bullshitty president who thought he was the master of the photo op.
Yeah.
But remember, all his photo ops were staged. They were never really him. They were
that thing with the Bible, holding the Bible in front of the church, it was completely authentic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. If Trump never did anything comparable to what you just saw this morning.
No,
all right.
no.
There's a big difference between the clearing out a couple blocks with federal troops so you could take a picture of yourself holding up the Bible versus going to church with the leaders of the government.
Mm-hmm.
The government that Donald Trump himself tried to have eliminated just a few days ago.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the old, we're still here. And I'm not believing for 1 second that Mitch McConnell has a conscience. I'm not believing for 1 second that Mitch McConnell suddenly is ready to start drinking Kentucky bourbon with Joe Biden every day at 5 o'clock when they sit down and solve all the nation's problems. Don't think that for a
But
second.
they will be able to work together. I do believe they will be able to work together.
Compared to what we
absolutely.
had.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to be back to whatever allegedly good old days.
No, but Joe Biden does know how to get,
as we think they were.
Joe Biden does know how to get shit done, and I know that some of the people that he served with they're no longer in the Senate and stuff. But he knows how to talk to people and get shit done. He's aware of the whole process, and he knows what goes on.
That being said, I would just like to say that I feel a great sense of relief today that we can get back to bitching and whining about a president for all the right reasons. Okay. And I don't for 1 second, right?
Well, I've heard that he's got a Peloton that he's bringing into the White House, and that's just that's counter to America's value.
Right, because nobody has those.
That's again, where is Joe with cornbread eating America? They don't know about no Pelotons. What are you doing?
By the way, the comparison of a Peloton machine versus 304 days on the golf course, and needless to say, we don't have to get out that clip of Trump saying right at the beginning of his presidency, maybe even before he took office, "I'm not going to have time to play golf. I'm going to be too busy." Remember that one?
Yeah, I
mean, there's not only a tweet for everything. There's a video clip of everything. So I don't for 1 second think that Joe Biden isn't going to get roughed up in his own way. I don't think for 1 second we're not minutes away from the first "is he too old? Oh, look how he said that."
Exactly.
Is he all there? He didn't look like he fell asleep. That's all going to happen. And Joe Biden is 78 and he is old. Mm-hmm. So fucking what? Who cares? Exactly. It just doesn't matter. He's perfectly capable of delivering a damn good speech And as far as I'm concerned, just that ability tells you that he is cognitively all there as much as he needs to be. And any comparison, anybody that dares make a comparison to Trump in that area, I think is going down the wrong road, which of course they will. You know they will, right? Of course they will.
Sure.
So Biden is going to take his, pretty soon it's going to be within a month when we get to the next 100,000 deaths. Those deaths are on Joe Biden's watch.
That's right.
Right. And Joe Biden, I can guarantee you, will not say when we get to the next 100,000 deaths, which, that's just baked in. It's going to happen. It could be way more than that, right? We know it could double in the next 4 or 5 months. And we're losing at 100,000 a month right now.
That's another thing is that remarkable ceremony they had to pay tribute to the victims of COVID-19 on Tuesday.
That's right.
Holy shit. I mean, that's the kind of leadership you just don't get from a Donald Trump. I mean, that's because he can't acknowledge and he can't do it because, of course, if you acknowledge that anyone has died from this virus, it is a slam against Donald Trump.
He threw in one little line about, I'm sorry for the family that died from, but he called it the China virus. Okay. He called it the China virus on his way out the door on Wednesday morning. He did.
Oh, God, I know.
He's still with it. So he's an oaf on the way in. He's an oaf on the way out. And we really have to turn, and we will turn, and we are turning.
Yeah, but at the same
reality, the reality that we all live in is that it is not parsing everything that happened in the last 4 years, except for the collective that has been willed to all of us that we have to fix. I mean, I get that.
But at the same time, I think we are now being kind of lulled into a little bit of a false sense of security because there was not a terrorist attack in DC, and the stuff at the state capitals kind of fizzled out. And there's going to be some people like, okay, we're past it. No, the white supremacist, white terrorist thing is still very much in effect.
Yeah, and
it's still going to be a problem. They're still inspired by Dear Leader, even if he's not on Twitter. And he's not able to do what he used to do.
In that score, you're right. Nothing has changed. Maybe it's worse because remember, today was supposed to be one of those apocalyptic days on the calendar where something from somewhere, the pod people, something was going to happen to keep Donald Trump as president. We don't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened today was not supposed to happen.
Well, a great many people, and including one of the people we used to have on our radio show, felt that God would intervene. God would literally split the sky and come down and stop Joe Biden from being.
Didn't happen.
I suppose that's not what happened. So that's a problem.
You suppose? No,
it didn't happen. That's an issue. I hope this doesn't shake these people's faith and they stop believing in God, or at least whatever stupid version they had in their mind that was going to intervene. I guess these are the same people that believe that God's going to come in and block the Kansas City Chiefs kick from going through the uprights. These are the same kind of folks. But the white terrorism and white supremacy have been given jet fuel over the past 4 years. And that's not going away.
Right. And you can foresee what's going to happen down the line here because there's clearly going to be a concerted, fortified effort to start investigating and surveilling white people in this country as we have brown people in other parts of the world who would fly here and do bad things to us, or as George Bush called them, evildoers or evildoers. Which is it? Is it evildoers or evildoers?
Evildoers.
But we have lots of evildoers here, and a lot of them are white. And you can already see this is what liberals do. They like to harness the power of the federal government, of the FBI, to infringe on our rights of free association and free speech. You can't wiretap. None of the surveillance techniques that are available for overseas intelligence gathering many of them are not available domestically. We don't have domestic terrorism legislation in place to allow for that. Are we still going to do that? Are we still going to pretend that the biggest threat is a Mohammed in a cave in Syria somewhere? Or what is it going to take? Is it going to take one day there just might be an attack on the U.S. cap? Oh, there was. Oh, there actually was. It ended up being by our own people. And this is not to turn us into some kind of police state, but God damn it. One, we should have known, and two, it should have been able to be stopped. But the good news is the person who did the most to foster that is no longer
has the position he should. And it is interesting that there are a number of people who would be, there was a word we used to use back in the earlier part of the century, and it was called profiling. We called it profiling. And there were a number of people who would decry it and say it's not right to profile. And then the folks on the right, no, you should profile because these are the people causing the trouble. And I always would ask when we were on the radio, what exactly we were profiling? Because from where I'm sitting, Timothy McVeigh and Columbine and various other things, it looks like it's young white males that are causing a lot of problems. So if we're going to profile, that's who we need to profile. And for those people who were against it, who were absolutely for profiling, not so much now. I don't think they're going to be so much for it. If we're going to start looking, as you say, at the white people who, let's be honest, causing a lot of problems. I saw a lot of white faces that were breaking some windows and some doors of the Capitol on January the 6th, right? That seemed to be the predominant thing. If you're looking at the folks that are causing terrorism in this country.
Well, I think you can genuinely make the same argument against profiling just based on race. Right now, all white people aren't suspects now in America for being as opposed to after 9/11, all brown people were suspects. That wasn't right then, and it's clearly not right now. And I think that we have the ability to track and understand and infiltrate terrorism domestically based on more than just skin color. So
if you were a white person,
they're going to make the case. They're going to make the case.
You're a white person who would post things on social media like this is an illegitimate election. The election was stolen. Would you be more or less likely to commit a terrorist act in America than someone else who did not post that?
Yes.
That's the profiling. That's what we do. That's what we look at.
But it's not because you're white. It's because you acted like
it's because you're white and you did this. It's because you're white and this is part of your profile.
Well, wait, but I think you're missing the point. If a black person or a Muslim person wrote those same things down, we wouldn't say we have to profile them because they are. We would profile them because of what they said.
Exactly.
If you were the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
If you were someone who identified as a Muslim and you said "death to America" on some social media platform, you'd probably get a more scrutinized than someone who didn't say that. That's correct. I would agree with that.
And by the way, if you're white now and you say "death to America," I would expect a knock at your door also.
If you're a white guy and you're posting, I would like to make a dress out of Mitch McConnell's skin. You're probably going to have some things that are checked out by you.
That's the worst visual that's ever occurred.
Buffalo Bill,
a long time. That was a horrible thing. But the split right now between Mike Pence and Trump appears to be real. It really appears to be real. And this isn't about symbolism. This is just reality.
Of course.
Pence didn't show up for Trump's dog and pony show leaving the airport early on Inauguration Day, and he was there at Joe Biden's inauguration. You can't spin that. You can't change that.
No, Kamala Harris escorted him to his motorcade.
Exactly.
As should have been done.
Right. And then the car exploded 100 yards down the road.
And I, as Mike Pence turned out to be a decent guy and did the bare minimum that he did to try to preserve democracy, and I give him credit for that. Also, my sympathy for him only goes about 4 feet because
I would take issue with your characterization of him as a sympathetic guy or as a decent guy, because he's not. He's indecent, and we cannot reward people. Although I guess in the spirit of unity and a new president, we have to give credit to people like Mike Pence who just do the bare minimum, their jobs that they were elected to, presiding over the Senate and certifying the Electoral College votes as they're handed to him by the Senate. That's a heroic act when there's a dictator as the president and you stand up to him by just doing your job. Again,
there's a timeline where Mike Pence does what Donald Trump wanted him to do, and he says it was illegitimate, and he gets the people in the Capitol to say, take Nancy Pelosi and kill her, and then he's up there holding her head above his and screaming for blood. I mean, there's a timeline where that happens, and he didn't do any of that. So yes, he does get the bears, but his marriage to Donald Trump was always a marriage of convenience, a chance to try to elevate himself. And how did that work out, Mike? How did that work out in the he will get eventually. Mike Pence in a year or two will be able to write his book about how awful Donald Trump was, and he'll probably sell a lot of it and make some money off of it. Do you think that a Donald Trump book can be published by a major publisher in this country and can be sold on Amazon, for example, right now? Do you think that happens for Donald Trump? Because I don't know if that's able to happen right now.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
A Donald Trump book where he lays out everything, says the election was stolen from him, and et cetera, et cetera. You think that Simon & Schuster or one of the big publishers, whoever, and Amazon sells it in their store?
Well, first of all, legitimate publishing houses have a floor in their main building, and that floor is called the fact checker floor. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the answer is he can't write a book that would sound like his rallies and just put it down in writing, dictate it into a dictaphone like the kind you'd see on Magnum PI, those old machines. I love those.
Those are great.
No. So he would have to go to Regnery or some piece of shit publisher like that, which, by the way, as you saw, of course, they picked up the Josh Hawley book, which would not be published by, I think, Simon & Schuster. They said no. And, Regnery, again, they would publish Mein Kampf 2021 if it was presented to them. Okay. They really would.
Yeah.
They would. It's not a Donald Trump book that should concern anybody now. We think he's been holding back some information.
Okay, like I said, there's only so many ways he can make money now, and that's like one of the ways he can make money. It's the library.
We went through this already. Why does he have to make money? I thought he was rich. He's not. Well, he's a liar.
That's another big lie. And then he's got those stupid adult children who have absolutely no job skills whatsoever and can't do anything else. So they've got to make money. They're on the gravy train too. At some point, one of the kids figures out the only way they can make money is to publish a book that turns on him and talks about what a fraudulent human being he is. I mean, the truth does become the final option for these people at some point.
Oh, you mean the Daddy Dearest book?
Yeah, that's the deal.
Boy.
So,
Hang on.
Hang on for that.
So, somebody bring it. Maybe that's why we don't hear much from Barron. Why doesn't Barron talk?
There you go.
In fact, now that I think about it, I didn't see him there this morning. I mean, I wasn't paying close attention or looking, but you can't miss him. He'd be the tallest guy in the line, right? He's about 6'3" already, right?
Somebody said he's actually waking up at the White House all alone, kind of rubbing his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, what happened? Where's?" And they just left his ass behind. He's not in Florida or anything. Joe Biden's going to have to book him a flight on American or something to get down to Florida.
Right. Okay. Our long national nightmare is not over, actually.
But we got a little ways to go, guys.
We did get into the third or fourth inning, I think, of this game.
That's the deal.
We're not even close to halfway there. I mean, just because you get rid of the origin of the cancer doesn't mean that the cancer isn't still all around.
Oh, no, is it metastasized?
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, that's true. All right. See you tomorrow.